I had worked on other games before, but this was the first game that kind of had that impact on so many people, and I think it's because so many agents are from all over the world, and people feel represented, and they feel like, oh, I have my agent that I love, or that speaks like me, or like my parents, and so it's an honor to be a part of such a big game. I never thought gaming could have such an impact on people, and I've seen it firsthand how Overwatch really impacts people's personal lives. They get to meet friends online. Sometimes they've met their partners and gotten married. So it's really special and crazy. But you know, it's the journey I'm on. So it's pretty cool. You know, since I was a kid, I just loved accents and languages, and so I loved acting, so I knew I would pursue that later on in life. And I auditioned for film and TV all the time, and I did a bunch of independent film in New York. And then as I started doing more voiceover, besides just like the brand commercials for radio, I started rediscovering my love for characters. And so I don't know what it is, it just clicks that I love making voices up. And what's cool is it doesn't matter how the character looks, it's just how you make it sound. So I can sound like a little kid, I can sound like a, you know, old Latina lady, like, and I don't look like that, but it's cool that you know, my imagination can sort of make that happen. So I think maybe that's what's cool. It's very freeing, you know? I mean, I love costumes, period. I love Halloween. So cosplay was just like, oh, that kind of works out. And if I get to dress up as Sombra, even cooler. I think my love for cosplay started going to conventions. I didn't really know much about it. I would see people dressed up at New York Comic Con, and I was like, oh yeah, they do this thing, but I didn't know what it was. So then at cons, when people come up to me dressed up and then dressed up as Sombra, I'm like, whoa. And then the fact that they made it all, that's a whole other respect, because it's an art, it's a craft. You didn't just buy it. I mean, some people buy it, of course, but you know, when you make it, I'm just in awe, you know? And so this script I did not write. A writer reached out to me with his project, and he said, I think you'd be great in this. And I read it and I was like, oh yeah, because it had all these elements that I connected to, that I knew the Overwatch fan base would connect to, that so many people I meet at cons have, you know, shared stories where they've dealt with depression or social anxiety, or being made fun of because they like cosplay and they're 40, or wanting to dress up as a female character and they're male, and so they get made fun of for that. Like, whatever the case may be, this story sort of encompassed all of it. And I was like, this is uncanny that this guy wrote a script that speaks to me on so many levels and to my fan base. So I was like, we need to do this. So that's why I knew that the Kickstarter could work, because I knew people would be interested in the subject matter. And more I realized, you know, that the pandemic affected everybody so differently and so traumatically or dramatically or whatever. You know, we all went through a very different experience, but everyone has some deep emotional stuff going on. So I just think the film is going to speak to people because it has all these elements that, whether you don't like cosplay or you do love this, there's something in it that you could connect to. I think we're just born with certain DNA that's like a makeup, but I also think that, I mean, we only live once, right? So we have to enjoy everything we do, and I think I get a kick out of little things, and that's part of just enjoying every day. Even if something crappy happened that morning, it's like, well, I'm gonna have a great cup of coffee, or I'm gonna have a great conversation and meet you guys, you know, like there's always something. But I also think that pursuing acting has taught so many actors to just keep going. And even if I didn't book that one role, that I auditioned for the CW shows all the time, I've auditioned for Star Trek, I've auditioned for all these things that I would love to be on, and they haven't happened. But it doesn't mean that I'm not good enough, it doesn't mean that, it just means I wasn't right for that role, and I gotta keep going. So I think we learn how to sort of find a silver lining in things, focus on what is happening. Like right now, Overwatch is happening. Overwatch 2 is coming. I'm working on other video games. I'm focused on the positive, because if we focus on the negative, that's gonna be, you know, everything that we see. But right now it's like, dude, I'm talking to you and you're awesome, and I'm gonna have a panel at 11, and then we're gonna meet Canadian fans, and you know, there's all, and lunch, I love food, I'm excited for lunch, you know what I mean? It's silly, but you just gotta, I think like we have to find something every day that we're excited about, whether it's really small, talking to your grandma, you know, eating a great steak, whatever. That's how I try to live. Years ago, I'd be like, oh, I auditioned for Legends of Tomorrow. Oh, I auditioned for Arrow. I didn't get it. I was so right for it. But now I understand. Now I'm on another path. Like the voice world has given me conventions, and giving me conventions has given me an opportunity to connect with fans who I feel want to be inspired by something, you know? And so if I can give them that little bit of like hope for a better tomorrow, that excites me, you know, because they pay attention to Sombra for some reason. And so if I can look in their eyes and tell them, you just got to believe in yourself and keep going forward. You're like, okay, Sombra, you know, I feel like that's power, and it's got to move people forward in whatever they want to pursue, because we're all on different paths. Everyone wants to. They say they want to be a voice actor, and I'm like, awesome, start pursuing it. And if it makes you miserable, find something else. Like, don't stay in something that's making you unhappy. Move forward in something that is gonna fulfill you, you know. And my TED Talk is over. Of course, we love Overwatch and Valorant so much. We would the voice actors would love a series, right, where the characters get to be explored, where it's an animated show where you get to see their interactions. I love the interactions at the beginning of the game, right? And people are like, "Oh my God, I love when you talk to Hammond or when you talk to McCree." Let's cut that. When you talk to Cassidy, and I feel like. I want more of that. I want to see how we care about the other characters. So that would be really cool. If people are like, oh, if there was a live action, would you want to do it? I'm like, whatever Blizzard and Riot want to do, I'm excited for, you know. I think I used to have an idea of the kinds of the projects I wanted, and now I just want to work on projects with really cool people, actors, crew. It's so important to have a good, like, entertainment family around you, and that means anybody from the guy who's putting the mic on to who's driving you in the morning at 5 a.m. when you're half dead. Like, I believe in just working with good people, because some people work on amazing projects, but it's not a great set. So I just want to work with people who are excited to be doing cool stuff.